Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ifoma. So in today's tutorial we're going to be making this beautiful skirt with this style as the front. So if this look like what you're interested in, definitely keep watching and please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Let's dive into the video. So to begin, we're going to cut it the way we cut our normal pencil skirt, right? We're going to take our length, divide our hip by 4, divide our waist by 4, and so on. So this skirt has a tiny band, maybe 1.5 inches band, and then it has a zipper at the back, obviously, unless you want your own zipper to be at the side. Alright, so we are going to start by getting our fold. Okay, so to get our fabric fold, we're going to divide our hip measurement by 4, and then add 1.5 or 1 inch sewing allowance, as the case may be. So if you are going to line your fabric you are using, you are advised to add at least 1.5 inches for your sewing allowance. So for the length of this skirt, mine I'm working with is 18 inches. So I'm going to first of all take the length of the skirt and I'm going to add some inches for the folding. Okay, so I added 2 inches for the folding. I'm going to repeat this measurement here so I can get a straight line. So having gotten that, I'm going to take my hip, this is my hip line and this is my waistline, right? So on my waistline, I'm going to divide my waist by 4 and I'm going to add 1.5 inches for the sewing. And for the hip, I'm also going to do the same, divide my hip measurement by 4 and add 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So because this is a pencil skirt, we are going to minus 1 inch from whatever we have here. So we have 11.5 here. So we are going to increase 10.5 here. And then we are just going to connect like so. Okay. So when we have gotten this, we are going to cut this out and then use this front to trace out the back. But we are going to be adding our zip allowance to the back. So what we did for the back is very simple. We just cut out the front and we placed it on our fabric on fold as usual. We placed this and then we left 1 inch for the zip allowance. Okay, so here is 1 inch that we left for the zip allowance. We just placed and we're just going to trace every other thing aside from the zip allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this one on camera so we'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm notching the zip allowance side and then I'm just going to open it up like this. Okay, so this is what we have. So for the effects at the front, I had this paper. I traced out my front bodies in my front skirt pattern on this paper. Okay, so this is my front skirt pattern here. So because you know that particular design is only at the front. Okay, so this is my front skirt pattern. I traced it on a paper so we can start working on this design on this paper. Okay, so what I will do first is to come down on the waist, because if you look at this picture very well, you're going to see that the waist of this design folded into the band of the skirt, right? So I'm going to come down by 4 inches. We're going to use that 4 inches to fold the design into the skirt waist. So I'm coming down by 4 inches. First of all, ignore any red color you're seeing in this. Be following the black color that I'm using. Okay, this marker I'm using is what you should be following. So I'm going to connect these lines. So we know that whatever measurements we are taking it from this line. Okay. So I'm just going to, from this line, trace out my skirt again. So at this point, this is what it looks like. Okay, so from here, this is the center, right? This is the center of this paper. This is the center of this paper, and this is our complete waist. This is the waist of our skirt. So what I'm going to do now is, from this center, I'm going to measure the other side. Like we're going to measure the quarter of this skirt like this, and what I have for the quarter is 9. So I'm going to divide this quarter by 3. Okay, so what I have when I divided this quarter by 3 is 3 inches. I hope you understand this. That means that we are going to come in on the one part of this design by 3 inches. So this part that is bigger, we are coming up by 3 inches. So you are going to connect this part downwards. Okay, so this is what I have. I divided the quarter of this skirt by 3. This is the quarter. Okay, remember that whenever we are cutting our skirt, we are dividing our measurements. Our hip circumference, our waist circumference are divided by 4. Okay, so one part out of the 4 is a quarter of our circumference. So that quarter, we divided that quarter by 3 inches, and whatever we have, we divided that quarter by 3, and whatever we have, that is what we are putting here. Okay, and from this waist, remember that this is our new waist now. So from here, we are going down by 9 or 8 inches, depending on what your waist to your hip gives you. When you measure your waist to your hip, whatever it gives you, some people, if you are tall, it's going to give you 9. If you are not so tall, 8. Some people 7, depends on your height. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use 9 in this case, because this skirt is a high waist, so I'm going to use 9 in my case here. Okay, so from here now, you're going to connect this place to this place with a straight line. So before I do the connection, I'm going to also take whatever I used here and place it here, so I get a straight line. Okay, so I'm going to connect this with a straight line. So from here now, we can now connect it with a curve down to the hem of the skirt. And if you look at the picture very well, we're going to see that this part, this bigger part, is longer than the actual length of this skirt. So the actual length of this skirt is 18 inches. That is the actual length of my own skirt is 18 inches. This is 18 inches. So that means we are now going to extend this paper to past 18 inches. And I want mine to be longer than my skirt with 4 inches. So on that 18 inches, I'm going to mark a 4 inches line downwards. Okay, so this is what I have. So that means from here, I'm going to get a curve to here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a curve from there, and I'm going to join it to here. Okay, so this is my 4 inches. I'm going to get a curve from here, and I'm going to join it here. So this is how one part of the skirt is looking. And for the parts with the smaller design, we're just going to come in from our shaping side. This is our shaping side, right? We're going to come in by 4 inches. Remember, we added 1.5 inch to this to our shaping. So when you minus that 1.5 inch, you're going to be left with 2.5 inch. Okay, that's why I'm coming out with 4 inches. So if you want to come out with less than 4 inches, that means you have to start your measurement from your allowance you added for the skirt. So but I added both the allowance, that is why I'm coming out from this side with 4 inches. And this one is not so long, so just going to go down from here. Remember that this is the waist we are using now, because this side we are going to be folding it inside our band. Okay, so I'm going to come down from here by 9 inches. This is what I have, and then I'm just going to connect this like this. So this one will be the other part, and this one will be the other part. Okay, so mind you that when you trace this on your fabric, you are also going to cut out a lining for it, because I'm going to lining it, and if possible interface the lining so that it becomes thick enough to carry our eyelet. Okay, so that's just all. I'm just going to cut this out. I'm just going to cut this out, and then we go ahead and cut it on our fabric as well. Okay, at this point, after we are done cutting out and interfacing the lining, the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and turn this with the lining. Okay, so if you notice, I cut the lining shorter than the actual fabric, because this is the length of our actual fabric. Remember where we notched when we are cutting this fabric. So I cut the lining shorter. The lining is exactly the length of this skirt. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the lining like this with 0.5 inches sewing allowance as usual. Okay, so I'm just going to turn here. Okay, so after I'm done turning here, I can now shift the lining with the cloth to get my actual length of the skirt. Okay, so after turning here, I'm going to shift it, and then I'm going to start turning from here. Okay, so this is where we turn this side, and we also go ahead to turn this side. Okay, leaving the waist, because we're not going to turn the waist. We're going to do the same thing for this side of the skirt as well. This is the back part of the skirt. We're going to do exactly the same thing we did for the front. And then for this one, we are going to also turn it round, leaving just the waist. This one as well, we are also going to turn it round, leaving just the waist. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, and when we are back, we are going to go on from there. So this is what it looks like after we are done turning in the lining. This is what the back looks like. That's before turning down, and this is it. Okay, this is for the front, this is for the two back. Okay, so we also went ahead to iron this and this. So this is what it's going to look like when we place it together. Okay, so after this part, the next thing we are going to do is to join the band. I also went ahead to prepare the band. I cut out a 4 inches fabric and a very long one at that. I didn't measure the length, I just made it long enough to go around my waist. Okay, so I also interfaced it. This is a medium gum stay. You can use any interface of your choice. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and join the band to the front using 0.5 inches allowance. So this is what it's going to look like after we're done joining it. So we are going to do the same thing for the back, for the two backs. And when we are back, we are going to start continue reshaping the skirt. So here's what we have after we are done fixing the band, and also went ahead to fix the zipper for the back. Okay, so this is the zipper for the back, and this is the front. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shape it. Okay, so but before we shape it, we're going to go ahead and attach this style that is at the front. Okay, so on the front, this is the front part of the skirt, right? And this is the style that is going to be on the front. So what we're going to do now is, remember we added 4 inches. Remember we added 4 inches when we are cutting this part. So we are going to mark that 4 inches. Okay, so this is that 4 inches, and we are going to fold it in like this. Okay, so we are going to make it neat by folding it once, and then folding it through that 1 inch. Okay, so on the first fold, I'm just going to control it with the hemming gum so it doesn't move from there. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm going to fold the second one like this. So when I'm done, I'm just going to place it like this. Okay, okay, see the way I folded it? Can you see the way I folded it in? Okay, so I'm just going to use my hemming gum to hold it down on this part. So it doesn't move from here. Okay, so this is what I have. So I shifted it in a little bit because I found out it's too close to the other one. So you can also do the same thing for your own as well. So this is what I have. And then for the smaller part that is going to be this side, I'm also going to measure that 4 inches we added. Remember, we added 4 inches to the both sides. So this is the 4 inches, and just like we did for the other one, I'm going to fold it in like this, so to get a neat finishing at the other side. So when we have achieved this, we are also going to go ahead and fold in the 4 inches that we added for this. Then we are going to go ahead and also attach it to this side of the band. Okay, so I also shifted it out a little bit so I can have enough space for the eyelet. So I'm also going to use my hemming gum and hold it down. Okay. Okay, so after I've achieved this is what it looks on the inside and on the outside. Okay, so I'm now going to go ahead and attach the back of my skirt and shape this. Okay, so I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine and shape my skirt. Then when we are back, that will be the end of the skirt. Okay, so guys, this is what we have after we have done. We also went ahead to put our eyelet and lace that part of the skirt. So if you have stayed to this level, thank you very much, and if you are yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I will see you next time. Bye.